Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I missed y'all. It's been forever. Um, it's been a lot going on, like in the cosmos, in my life, career-wise, personal-wise. But I'm happy to be back, guys, and I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch more readings for you. So definitely keep commenting on who you want me to read. Again, remember, I do not summon people who have passed over. If you put their name down and I get permission from them that I can read them, I'm more than happy to help. But yeah, other than that, just keep commenting who you guys want me to read. I'm more than happy to take a crack at it. But today on this video, I'm going to be answering some of your spiritual questions. I've been getting like a whole bunch of spiritual questions, and it's not just like now, it's been like for a long time. So I thought, why not answer some of those for you guys today? And I feel like there could possibly be a part 2 of this video. It just depends on what other questions you guys may have for me. So I'm open to hearing them. And also, everything I answer is based on what I've learned throughout the years, based on my own personal experience. And it's also based on some of it is based on what I've been taught by mentors, and some of it is based on what I have basically picked up when I asked spirit and when I asked the angels through meditation. So if you have your own take on it, feel free to comment that below. You know, I'm open-minded. Always happy to also hear other perspectives as well, right? All right, so I'm gonna pull up the questions because I sort of copied and pasted them on this little note thing on my phone, so it's easier than just going through every single email. All right, so the first question I got, and I get this one a lot. People asked, "What is your take on Ouija boards?" Um, Ouija boards, guys. Ouija boards, like anything else, is considered a tool. Okay, it's almost like asking me what's my take on a knife. Um, a knife can be used to cut up potatoes and make a delicious potato salad, but it can also be used to, cut somebody or stab someone, basically. So it's a tool. It's all in how you use it. And when you use a knife, you're usually told to be careful to protect your knuckles, your hands, so you don't cut yourself. The same goes for Ouija boards. You don't want to start summoning things or summoning people and not ask for God's protection and not ask for the angels' protection, because it's basically the equivalent of not asking for protection. Is basically like opening your front door. Like anybody could walk in. It could be somebody that's, a friendly neighbor checking to see what's going on. Why do you have your front door open? Or it could be the person who's looking to rob you. So, that's just my take on it. If you're going to use that, use it at your discretion and also protect yourself, because it's some tricksters out there. Okay. All right. So next question. Are tarot cards and oracle cards bad? Um, it's kind of like the same thing with the Ouija board. It's a tool, a tool that's used for spirituality. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. It's all in how you use it, basically. But all in all, it's a cardboard paper. Like it's what energy that's put into it and what intent it's used under that makes it either good or bad. Okay. All right, so next question. Oh, and by the way, y'all, like a couple years back, I was flying internationally and I was at like Atlanta airport, and I was like about to miss my flight. And of course, like I had my carry-on bag and it had like over 40 decks of cards. Of course, I get like pulled to the side. They're like, "Man, step aside." And it's this sweet old like Caribbean lady, because she had this really beautiful accent. She went through every single one of my cards with the little gloves they put on, and then she stops and she looks at me. She's like, "Is this of God?" And then I'm like, "Well, I'm about to miss my flight anyway, so I might as well tell her." So I sit there and I give her the little rundown on it and how cards are basically it's what you do with them. it's not the card itself, it's the intention and the energy you put towards them. And then, but yeah, long story short, you know, just a little side note, random story. And I ended up making my flight. So, all right. So next question: what is your take on spells, hexes, and curses? Are they good or bad? Um, hexes and curses. Hexes and curses. Was a means of protection way back when, before, you know, even the beginning of time. It was mostly used by women to protect themselves. You know, people would come through villages and pillage and, you know, attack people, do all types of horrible things. That was a form of protection that the feminines would use back then to not only protect but also like punish those who would come in and just try to have their way. Nowadays, it's, you know, a little bit different. You know, that part of the Bible that tells you vengeance is not yours. It carries an energy. It carries a heavy karmic debt. So whenever you hex or curse someone, it's one of those things that you can't really, you can't just do it and think, okay, well, I got my way, or I got, you know, my revenge, or I got this person to feel what I, you know, what I think they deserve. It's gonna come back to you. And when it comes back to you, it's going to hit you as hard as it hit that person. Because when you placed a hex and a curse on that person, you basically created karma. And, you know, the thing with karma is it's not really punishment, it's a balancer, it's the great equalizer. It's what you put out there is automatically what you will get. So that's my take on hexes and curses. As far as spells are a little bit different. Like, I've seen people do spells to heal themselves, you know, people who are sick, or heal the sick. I've seen people who do spells to attract abundance, love, and that's not, you know, so much bad. It starts to get to the you know, kind of wonky side when you do spells with the intention of taking away someone's free will. Example, let's say you want to get married, right? And you want to attract the partner that you want to get married to. Let's say you want the person to be, whether you want them to be male or female, whether you want them to be tall, handsome, or beautiful, or you know, gainfully employed. You can put energy work into that and attract that person, right? What it'll do is, when you do a spell like that, in the general sense, it'll attract someone who is available and looking for the same thing you're looking for, and able to give you what you're looking for. Now, whereas if you were to look at, let's say, you know, you have a coworker named John, and John is married to Joanne, but you have a thing for John, and you're like, I'm about to do a spell because I want John to be married to me, not to Joanne. That's when you start meddling with people's free wills, and that's when it comes back to you, because it's going to come back to you. Okay, so it's a bit of a duality. It's energy. It's basically based on how you use it. Are you using it to harm? Are you using it to hinder someone else? Or are you using it to heal and to help, you know, without taking someone's free will away? Okay, all right, so next questions. Oh, y'all asked some good ones. um let's see, I lost my place. Do aliens really exist? um Yes, they do exist. And what's funny is, up until 3 months ago, I didn't believe they existed. But randomly, I was, in my meditation, I actually picked up the energy of one. And it just like started giving me the history of its people, the planet they were from. And I could do another separate video on this and give you guys more details if you want. But it told me that it was part of the group called I think it's called Lyrans or Lyrans. I don't know how to say it because it was speaking to me telepathically. But that was interesting and different. And up until that point, I didn't really believe. I mean, I wasn't. ignorant enough to say that, you know, we're the only beings that exist in this universe, but I'm one of those people where I have to experience it or get some form of proof before I can believe it. So, you know, they do exist. Yeah. Um, yeah. All right. So let's look at the next question. Okay. Get a sip of water. What is the point of the twin flame journey other than unconditional love and spiritual growth? Okay. I feel like I need to do a separate video on twin flames. But I'd rather hear from you guys, like what questions you want answered. But in the meantime, I'm going to answer this one, right? Okay. So, for twin flames, other than, you know, the unconditional love and all of that, unconditional love and like spiritual growth, that's actually what twin flames are supposed to provide for each other, right? But if we want to get to the nitty gritty of it, like the real purpose of twin flames reincarnating in the same earth plane, which of course is this earth plane, together on earth, is to actually help the collective, right? They usually help the collective by working together, usually engaging in activism. I can never say that word, activism. Right? You know, sometimes they'll work together. They'll do like charity together. You know, a lot of twin flames you'll see have missions to end separatism, racism, xenophobia. Overall, like the main purpose of twin flames being here is to actually break old patterns, dated traditions that are no longer fit for this earth, dated rules, dated laws. So that's why a lot of times when you see twin flames, it'll be like a big, sometimes there'll be a lot of what some of society would consider taboo or not the average. Well, I mean, we've come a long way now, but a lot of times you'll see you know, twin flames that have a huge age gap. Sometimes you'll see some that are in like interracial connections. Sometimes you'll see some that are in the same sex connection. Sometimes you'll see some that are, you know, just from like completely different sides of the world, different religion, and then they come together to, and what they'll usually do is they'll come together um, to overcome not only those obstacles that they're going to face for being so different, but once they you know, learn that and heal and sort of get that spiritual growth, they then at that point start helping others. But unfortunately, a lot of twin flames, you know, they get caught up in the romanticized idea of the twin flames, so they sort of don't really stay together. They don't really get much further, but that's not always the case. That's just, you know, a lot of times that's what ends up happening. And they sometimes tend to forget, you know, what their real purpose is here, okay, which is to help the collective overall. Okay. All right, so next question. Let's see. Okay, so how true is it that when you exchange sexual energy with different people that you will take on their energy too? Really good question. Um, this is 100% true. When you engage in sexual intimacy with someone, not only do you take on their energy, but you get to the point where you start vibrating at their frequency. And if they happen to have an entity attached to them, you run the risk of getting consistently drained by these entities, or worse, you can inherit them, meaning transference. And those are not fun to remove, by the way. There is also, um, what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys, I lost my train of thought. I was just gonna say, yeah. You definitely want to be careful on who you allow to touch you, and specifically who you allow yourself to get intimate with, because there's definitely energy you know transference. And uh, there's also like spiritual STDs. That's the thing. So you always want to be careful and be mindful of who you're not. I mean, live your life, of course, but always make sure you're, doing the most you can to protect yourself. Um, not just by wrapping it up, but also like energetically protecting yourself, right? And prayer is the quickest way to protect yourself energetically, just for those who are wondering. Okay. All right. So let's see. What's the next question? Um, what about alcohol and drugs? Um, can that affect you if you are a spiritual person? Um, Alcohol and drugs. The thing with alcohol and drugs is when you drink, especially to an excess, when you take drugs to the point where you sort of open yourself up, because it does open you up energetically. It'll open your energy core right there. You can have things get in, and when I say things, I mean like spirits, I mean like entities, and it's not always fun. It's not fun to remove. I used to do that a long time ago. I used to remove like things like that from people. I used to remove spells and stuff. But I could tell you from experience, um, this is why sometimes you hear people say, when they go through certain situations and they're like, oh, I was so high, or I was so, drunk. And then later on, when they're sober, they'll be like, oh, I got so pissed off. I couldn't see anything anymore. It's like I blacked out. You didn't just black out. Something else jumped in and took over. So you definitely want to be mindful. I can't tell y'all how to live your lives. I can only live mine. But you definitely want to be mindful that that is something that can happen, and sort of maybe moderation if you do have to, partake in that. Just a thought, right? All right, so next question. Let's see here. Oh, this is the last question. Okay. All right, so this person says, they say if you leave this earth plane with no desires slash regret over things, meaning saying things like, I wish I did that, or not forgiving people, that you won't have to come back and reincarnate. What if someone else has one of these things involving you? Like a desire to be with you, for example, to them it's unresolved, but to you it is. Do you still have to reincarnate? Um, let's see here. I feel like having issues that are unresolved, problems that are unresolved on someone else's end, can unfortunately cause you to reincarnate. But this is worst case scenario. And the reason why I say this is worst case scenario is because energy has shifted so much, so that most karmic debt these days, um, it doesn't wait for the next lifetime to be resolved anymore. It usually does in extreme cases where, let's say, for example, you murdered someone, or you something along the lines of being that extreme, right? Or someone died prematurely, and there was unresolved issues between the two of you, um, something like that. Uh, but honestly, with nowadays, like karmic, issues, karmic debt, karmic cycles can be resolved in this lifetime. Because what happens is, let's say you have a specific um, unsettled karma with a person that you were dealing with. And you're dead set on avoiding that person, for whatever reason. Let's say that person was violent. Let's say that person was toxic, you know, delusional or abusive or anything along those lines. And you don't want to place yourself in a situation where you have to go back and resolve that, or get whatever form of closure you feel you need to have to close that out. What'll happen is, um, karma doesn't wait anymore for another lifetime. It doesn't wait for you to come back to that person. What it'll do is sometimes you'll get lessons that'll get repeated. You'll get sent people that are, either going to come in to help you with that situation, or you'll get people who are going to be mirrors of that person that you have unresolved issues with, right? Either way, it'll get 99% of the time these days, it'll get solved while you're still here. So there is ways of avoiding that, right? You don't necessarily have to reincarnate again just to, and let me just give you a quick example. There was this person I used to know, like they were really good at ghosting people, right? And this was just like friends, like we were friends. There was anything, romantic or anything like that. They were just friends. They just ghosted people all the time. They ghosted people all the time. And one time, we were supposed to all hang out. And I was like, are you sure you want to hang out? Because I knew this person was a ghoster. Like, they would like have you show up to a place. They'd be like, oh, let's go play pool. And you would like, put clothes. And I'm an introvert. I don't get out my house. So like that, unless, it's a real reason for me to get out my house. And I was like, oh, do you want to play pool? Okay. I was like, okay, well, are you sure? It's kind of late. Are you sure? Because I could feel like they were about to flake, but I was like, I ignored my intuition. And I showed up and I kept calling them and I was like, hello. I was like, and they would not answer. They would not answer. They didn't answer text. And I got to the point, like, I was like, I was like, is this person still alive or are they just flaking on me? And the next day I saw them like post something on, this was back when I was still on social media like that. I saw them post something, fell asleep, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, now, you could have said you didn't want to go. And I showed up to the place and they did that. And it's so annoying. Like, be respectful of people's time if you can't even respect them. But like, funny thing is, the point of the story, 2 weeks later, they posted that, yo, I was supposed to meet up with someone and they completely like flaked on me. No text, no call, no nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, ooh, karma. Ooh, karma, just like, and not even like in a vindictive or crazy way, but that was just the universe showing them that this is what it feels like to do that to others. And sometimes that's what karma is. Karma is not a punishment. It basically shows you, and it also balances things out, right? But yeah. But yeah, guys, that is all the questions I have. I'm gonna upload this. I'm also gonna look at your comments. I might do a few readings that I will post right after this video. So please keep commenting, which readings you want me to do. If you have any more spiritual questions, definitely comment those down below. I'm happy to do another video because these are actually a lot easier than channeling. So I'm happy to do as many of these as you want. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. If if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing. Help me out with the algorithm by liking this video. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.